History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography.
Yes, Dr. Clark.
History tells of people where they have been and what they have been,
Yes.
where they are and what they are.
Yes.
Most important, history tells a people where they still must go and what they still must be.
Yes, sir.
The relationship of history to the people is the same as the relationship of a mother to her child.
Yes, sir.
Or access to the cobalt for your aerospace industry, or access to the copper for your automobile industry.
All right, you dealing with the economy, you want the coltan. Man, Congolese people don't eat coltan. Congolese people can't eat gold. Talk to the Congolese people, we're gonna let you get the resources, but for God's sake, stop killing the people, stop letting Rwanda, Uganda, and Joseph Kabila kill with impunity.
The situation in the Congo is not just a Congolese issue, it's not just an African issue, but it's a global issue. It's a worldwide issue. Congo is a part of the second largest rainforest in the world. It's vital to the fight against climate change. If you're concerned about climate change, you should be concerned about Congo. Half of those who have died as a result of the conflict are children under the age of 5. So if you're a child advocate, if you're concerned about children, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. If you're concerned about women, if you have a mother, a sister, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. If you drive an automobile, or fly in airplanes, or own a cell phone, as a human being, at the very least, you ought to be concerned. You ought to say something. You ought to want to find out why this is happening. You ought to be moved to want to bring an end to it.
Nzambe, abambala biso, benga nzambe, doko bika, benga nzambe, abambala biso, benga nzambe, doko bika, benga nzambe.
8 out of 10 people in Congo are unemployed and live on 30 cents or less per day.
À Kinshasa, 9 filles des rues sur 10 vivent de la prostitution. For Congolese children, the tragedy is endless. Massacred in their villages by machetes or recruited as child soldiers, hundreds of thousands of children are victims, and many have become murderers.
So as we look at what's taking place, the quickest way to end the conflict in the Congo is global.
Whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. That's a great principle to live by.
Stop, come up on me. It's a little bright, but welcome to the Gilchrist Experience. That pastor you saw, Reverend Grant, now doing my roll-in, that just happened to pop up. So the spirits are working with us here. Welcome to the Gilchrist Experience. My partner in this whole exposure, working for the glory of God, Graham Weatherspoon. Welcome to the show, Graham.
How you doing, Winston? Good to be back.
Yeah, you see that last week we went through watching that piece. I wonder how many people actually saw it.
You know, I know we had some technical difficulties in that footage, but you know, we really have to start asking questions as to why these things are going on and why it is that we have no information coming to us about it. Why do we consistently look at CNN and MSNBC and these other networks, and they're only speaking about the stupidity of the election that's coming up, and the buffoonery. They're talking about the banter about Iran, and now with the death of Il in North Korea, they're trying to promote another boogeyman, that his son is a threat to international security. Threats of war and an ongoing genocide are two different things.
Right, exactly.
See, this country is good at coming up with their own little conspiracies and promoting them, and then people jump on the bandwagon. I never believed that there were weapons of mass destruction, knowing the history of Iraq and our involvement in that country.
And it took 9 years to get over that one.
And then you see where we are. But we have over 7 million people slaughtered in the Congo.
Right.
And the only thing that CNN has ever talked about relative to the Congo in the last few years was when this young fellow with the silver hair, Anderson Cooper, was in the Congo. He went to do and
How long ago was that?
About 2 years ago. He went to report about the guerrillas and saving the guerrillas in the Congo.
And this has been going on for 10 years.
For 10 years.
At least, no, 98, longer than that.
So everybody here has cable television. They're either watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whatever they're watching.
Right.
But as I've been saying for years, people in this country do not get information. The press is not providing it. The government doesn't want people to know what's really going on around the world.
Well, I think the basic problem is that most people feel that that's an ethnic war. No, tribe against tribe.
What was Bosnia?
Black on black.
All right,
Bosnia was the same thing, but that's European. That's not.
We went into Bosnia because you had Muslim people
being slaughtered.
You see, and my sister-in-law was in Bosnia during the war, working with the UN. Now, if that was critical, and you didn't have millions of people dying in Bosnia, you see, and we know what it's based upon. Bill Clinton said years ago he was not sending American troops to die in Africa. Well, what is it about Africa that you will not have American troops die for, but you will have American troops die in Panama, in Grenada, in Vietnam, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Iran? You'll have them die all over the world, but
in the Congo,
a combat soldier's life is too great to be lost on the African continent.
Well, we're trying to change that here and now, but the main problem is getting to attention. I mean, they had that rally last Monday. I happened to miss it. Gimmy's supposed to have been here, but I don't know what happened to him. I need to cry out and see what happened to Gimme, Professor Gimme. But the main problem is getting, President Obama's filled to the hilt dealing with the Congress and all that happened in the last couple of days. So you can see how dysfunctional everything is with, I call it just plain racism, but they're trying to pigeonhole him or make him look bad at every turn, everything he does, anything righteous. But he seems to be patient enough to let the American public to see what kind of fools he's got to deal with. And this last instance with Boehner and after getting 89 senators to vote for a bill, now it's 90% of the Congress, of the Senate, right? And Boehner sits in and blocks that. What's up with that now? He's really making a fool of himself.
Well, the question is, who is the bigger fool? Is it the politician or is it the public?
Well, public is bamboozled, that's for sure. The Tea Party, that's
you have people that are on that wagon who virtually have nothing to gain from it. Some of the poorest people in this country are in that bandwagon.
Of course.
And
160 million people affected by that.
One of the most treasonous things that are going on is this oath that these congressmen and senators have taken not to raise taxes.
Right.
Now, when you go into the United States Congress, you have to be sworn in.
Right.
And your job is to uphold the laws of the Constitution, to uphold the Constitution to protect this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, but yet they have taken a sworn oath to a civilian not to do a specified task of raising taxes. That's antithetical, and it's really treasonous. That these people would take an oath to him before they took an oath to the country. And I think that that is something that people need to question. I think it's something that the president needs to question. Where is your allegiance? When Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson was to be sworn in as president. He was ultimately impeached. But Johnson was a Mason. And in those days, there were many concerns about the Masonic order. We know that many of the founding fathers were Masons, free Scottish Rite Masons.
Every president?
Not everyone, no.
Which one wasn't?
A number of them have not been Masons. That's not true.
All the important ones?
And, well, how many of them have really been important? But I don't, this is not about Masonry. The thing was that Roosevelt, which one? Teddy or FDR?
FDR.
FDR was a staunch racist.
And he's also a Mason.
Well, they come in all colors. My grandfather was a Mason.
Okay.
Now, but the thing with Johnson was that they were afraid that his allegiance was going to be to the Masonic order and not to the country.
Okay.
He was elevated as a Mason from 3rd degree to 32nd degree overnight.
Who's this?
Johnson.
Johnson.
Before he was to be sworn in as president. So the question, and everybody...
Was Kennedy a Mason?
I don't think so. The question in the people's minds at that time was whether or not...
He was Catholic, okay.
Johnson was going to hold his allegiance to the country or to the Grand Master of the Lodge,
right,
which he had to take orders from.
I hadn't heard that.
See, so the question with these senators and Congress people, why would you take a sworn oath to some man about raising taxes when you have to take a sworn oath?
Well, we know what the real allegiance is, to get the black man out of the presidency.
True. Well,
that's the real allegiance. The real allegiance is to the Klan. I mean, that's where the allegiance lies. With these guys, they're Klansmen. I mean, without the robe.
Every racist is not a Klansman.
Okay. Well, we got the classic example in the Senate and
but we know that every Klansman is a racist.
Okay.
So it is very true. Obama hasn't played the race card, but Chris Matthews on CNN or MSNBC has said it. He said it's very clear. This is racism. That's all this is. This is not politics. Very few commentators will come out and call it for what it really is. They were against him from the very beginning, and nothing has changed. So we know where this country is. We know how the country operates, and we know who controls it.
The reason why we're talking about all this is because we're talking about the real source of the problems in the Congo is greed and the corporate structure. And this is what the wealth of the world is right there. We went over last week at 80% of the coltan on the planet is in the Congo. Now, coltan goes into every computer, every laptop, and we said again that the cell phones that you put to your ear have the blood of the Congolese on it. Now, what we really want to do is perhaps have some call-ins after we run another piece, because I feel it's very, very important that you feel this energy of the dire need of liberating the Congo. These are people that we need to come to the aid. There needs to be a civil rights movement, and for the Congolese. And matter of fact, last week I was on the bus talking about this piece, the piece we ran last week. And there was a woman on the bus who said, "Thank you." She was from the Congo. She was sitting on the bus. She heard me talking about the Congo. And she said, "Thank you for talking about it. Nobody's talking about it." You know, she was sitting, I mean, she almost had tears in her eyes because nobody's talking about this. And you imagine that 8 million people have died in the last 10 years? 8 million. Now, where else on the planet have you had something like that occur? Except in Germany in the 40s. But there was no outcry during the 40s about that. So maybe that's the classic example how we don't pay attention to what's happening elsewhere. This is a human cause. I mean, you wonder why we're talking about it so much. Everybody should be talking about it. The wealth of the Congo is running around on your ear. You're part of the problem. Because of the greed, the corporate structure, Wall Street is being supported by Congo. The wealth of the world is at $24 trillion in natural resources. So we're trying to do, in my small way, I'm trying to, it's a calling for me. I mean, my pastor, the pastor that you saw in his piece was Reverend Grant. And he said, all your good works have to be in the glory, for the glory of God. And that just happened to pop up. It was guided to me. It was given to me. The spirits are calling out for all of us to pay attention to what's happening in the Congo. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this second piece, and we'll come back after that, maybe start taking some call-ins. I'm curious how many people are paying attention. I know we've got a small viewership, or maybe you'll change that for me. All right? So run the second piece, and then we'll come back, and we'll try to see what the public has to say about crisis in the Congo. I just want you to listen. It's only 4 minutes. We're only playing 4 minutes today.
These are things that can be done, keeping in mind that the ultimate solution is going to come from the Congolese people themselves. Our role on the outside is to make sure that we create the space for them to solve and address the challenges that they face.
There's a strong desire for democracy in Congo, with leaders poised to start fixing their country. But key to their success is international pressure on Rwanda and Uganda to stop their destructive intervention. President Obama seems to understand this. For years, he has been an advocate for Congo, and as a senator, he co-sponsored a law that outlines a comprehensive strategy for Congo to realize justice. But key elements of this law have not been fully implemented.
So, President Obama wrote a law to support the Congo, signing into law in 2006 by George Bush, the president then, co-sponsored by the Secretary of State today. That law is the most comprehensive law you can think about when it comes to supporting the Congo. Now we have a law that says that the Secretary of State has the power to withhold aid to any nation deemed to be destabilizing the Congo if she has sufficient evidence that this country is doing so. We have so many evidence on Rwanda and Uganda, and we even have a leaked UN report that all the Secretary of State have to do is read it and say, okay, we are not going to support you. But since 2000, the United States have given Rwanda $1 billion. The leaked UN report is calling this government a genocidal government. Why is the United States supporting a genocidal government?
And it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to slaughter millions of people to get access to the cobalt for your colored television, or access to the cobalt for your aerospace industry, or access to the copper for your automobile industry.
All right, you dealing with the economy, you want the coltan. Man, Congolese people don't eat coltan. Congolese people can't eat gold. Talk to the Congolese people, we're gonna let you get the resources, but for God's sake, stop killing the people, stop letting Rwanda, Uganda, and Joseph Kabila kill with impunity.
The situation in the Congo is not just a Congolese issue, it's not just an African issue, but it's a global issue. It's a worldwide issue. Congo is a part of the second largest rainforest in the world. It's vital to the fight against climate change. If you're concerned about climate change, you should be concerned about Congo. Half of those who have died as a result of the conflict are children under the age of 5. So if you're a child advocate, if you're concerned about children, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. If you're concerned about women, if you have a mother, a sister, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. If you drive an automobile, or fly in airplanes, or own a cell phone, as a human being, at the very least, you ought to be concerned. You ought to say something. You ought to want to find out why this is happening. You ought to be moved to want to bring an end to it.
Nzambe, apambala biso, benga nzambe, doko bika, benga nzambe, apambala biso, benga nzambe, doko bika, benga nzambe.
8 out of 10 people in Congo are unemployed and live on 30 cents or less per day.
À Kinshasa, 9 filles des rues sur 10 vivent de la prostitution. For Congolese children, the tragedy is endless. Massacred in their villages by machetes or recruited as child soldiers, hundreds of thousands of children are victims, and many have become murderers.
So as we look at what's taking place, the quickest way to end the conflict in Congo is global.
That gives you a good idea. See, that's the best way for you to see it visually. You know, why should we be concerned? If you, again, you saw what the piece said. If you're a woman, you should be concerned about other women being raped and pillaged, if you care about children. And like welcome to the show, Professor Gimme.
Thank you.
He was late, but he's here now. Now, you have to realize that Professor Gimme is a native of the Congo. This is his homeland. And you have to get it.
Keep talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is his homeland, and we have to be patient that people aren't paying attention. And why they're not paying attention? Because nobody's talking about it. So we have to talk about it. Tell us what happened Monday at the rally, Professor.
Yes, we had a big rally Monday, starting at the Congo Mission on the corner of 48th and 1st Avenue. And then we marched on to 2nd Avenue and corner of 47th and 2nd Avenue, where you have the embassies or the UN missions of Belgium and France. Because these two countries are like the forces behind the genocide that has been taking place in the Congo. Especially Belgium, the former colonial master of the Congo. Right? And the fact of the matter is, for instance, that Belgium, for instance, they know that this young man, so-called Joseph Kabila, is Rwandan, not a Congolese. Belgium has known that right from the beginning, right on January 19th, after they killed Laurent Kabila on the 17th.
Laurent Kabila was?
Who was a Congolese.
Congolese.
Okay.
Right. So they used Laurent Kabila as a front for Rwanda, Uganda, and Burundi to invade the Congo. So then in 1998, then they wanted to overthrow him and kill him.
Okay.
And then in January 2001, before Bill Clinton left the White House, so the order was Kabila had to die, Laurent Kabila had to die. So they assassinated Laurent Kabila, and this young man, who was a former intelligence officer in the Rwandan army, they set him up as president.
Okay.
A Belgian newspaper on the 19th of January 2001 wrote that this young man who was taking over, quote unquote, his father's position was actually, his mother was Rwandan Tutsi, and he grew up in Tanzania. So the Belgians knew, but look, since 2001 until today.
But he has some Congolese blood in him.
No, he has
none.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Because he was adopted by Kabila.
He was not even adopted. His mother, Laurent Kabila, was a Muslim.
Okay.
And he had the habit of taking for himself wives of his friends after they died.
Okay.
He had like 13 of them.
Okay.
So he got, quote unquote, Joseph Kabila's mother became one of his umpteen mothers, women in his harem in Tanzania. And the young man actually, brought himself up, took care of himself, because he didn't go to school, he didn't finish elementary school. He was driving cab, he worked as a barman in Tanzania. He sold eggs door to door in Tanzania. And then in 1994, after the Rwandan army took over the Tutsis, Paul Kagame's Rwandan army took over Rwanda after the co-genocide, then his paternal uncle, who's James Kabarebe, who's a general, was a general in Paul Kagame's army, called him back to Rwanda. He went to Rwanda, he became a chauffeur of his uncle, James Kabarebe, who then enrolled him in 1995 when the U.S. Special Forces were training the Rwandan army prior to the invasion of the Congo. So they put him in the army, trained him as an intelligence officer and a specialist in killing. So he joined the Rwandan army. Then in 1996, during the invasion, as a mapping report said in 2001 on the 1st, this young man was one of the officers who had the zeal to slaughter all those men, women, and little children of the refugees, Rwandan refugees in the Congo, including both Hutus and moderate Tutsis who had fled the country, because they knew that these Tutsis that Paul Kagame was bringing in Rwanda, they were extremists. They didn't want to have anything to do with Hutus.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, we always have to connect the dots.
Yeah.
These men were brought to the United States. We have a college. We have a military college, and it's not West Point.
No.
CIA.
Okay? We have a college where we train combatant forces of other countries. We bring them here to be trained by our best. Green Beret, Navy SEAL, our mountaineers, they're trained by the best combatant units that we have. And then we send them back to their country. And they're basically doing the bidding of the United States. All of the stuff that you see going on across Africa, the revolts and the people, you better believe we have a hand in that. These things are not just happening by coincidence. But I'm glad he brought out the point that these military personnel from Rwanda were trained by Green Beret Special Forces here in the College of the Americas.
You saw that in the movie too. Even we sent special forces there in Rwanda to train them before the invasion. Yeah, so that's the connections to the point where that when we went to march in front of Belgium and France's embassies, it's because they are like in Europe, they're the one that control the Congo. And the president of France, Sarkozy, actually donated to the police of this young man, murderer, who's been killing Congolese, donated equipment, protective equipment, to control the crowds prior to the election. Just imagine Barack Obama giving protective equipment to the army of Syria right now, as the Syrians are marching. Imagine that. And by the way, I just found out this morning that our ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to the Congo, also donated protective equipment to the police in Kinshasa.
Kinshasa is the capital. Kinshasa is the capital.
The capital of the Congo. Okay. Why would Obama allow his ambassador to give equipment to the police that has been murdering Congolese?
Does he know?
I don't know if Obama knows, but if he doesn't know, then his ambassador is doing stuff there that Obama should know about.
Don't you think the CIA and the NSA are involved in this? With all this money involved? Look at all the money that's involved here.
But think about how the U.S. has been denouncing Syria. Syria's trying to control and actually kill or try to quiet the people, the uprising of the people. The people are marching. They don't have no weapons. The same thing happened in the Congo. And then U.S. Ambassador Entwistle in Kinshasa donates protective equipment to the police in Kinshasa.
Now, what can we do here now? All right, now we know since 2008 we've got a black president who's actually African. He can claim more African, being more African than most of us, maybe exception of you. You know, I mean, most of us here in America can claim about how much, I mean, where's your daddy from? You know, he can say, my daddy was from Africa.
From Kenya.
All right? So, I mean, he has a genetic link to the homeland. So
Well,
I'm
all
sure.
of us have a genetic link, but he has a direct.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, in other words,
So I heard somebody say that he's not black enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I laughed at that since he's has direct descendants from
Connection.
Africa.
That's right.
So now let's talk about this Obama law 109-456.
Yes.
This is our banner of that's our weapon right there.
Yes.
The law that he put in effect.
But that law, and there have been a few other pieces of legislation put forth in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
But
These pieces
bills
were actually weaker than the law that Obama got passed, wrote when he was a senator. The law
Okay.
that everybody rushed to pass and to sign and to say that we got something here. The law is dealing with minerals.
Okay.
And how do you control a mineral like coltan or like gold? How
Right.
can you tell that it's
Right.
not coming from the Congo? But see,
Right.
this is a cover-up so
Right.
that they will say we're doing something so that you don't call on Bill Clinton. See, the Senate right now, the U.S. Senate, we should call Jack Schumer. I know he's a friend of Bill Clinton, but, you know, when there's a Holocaust, there's a Holocaust. And the Holocaust of the Congo has claimed over 9 million people. So we should call all of our senators, Republicans and Democrats, and ask them, are they aware of the Holocaust in the Congo? What have they done about it? If they tell you that, okay, we have passed the law for the minerals, where you ask them, do minerals kill people?
Well, let's talk about coltan, which is the most important.
Yeah.
Every American has a cell phone.
Yeah.
Every American should be taking charge and pay attention to what's happening. That cell phone you have on your ear has the blood of the Congolese.
Yes.
Now we're trying to set up a civil rights movement
Yes.
for my brother's homeland. Now I'm in it 150%. So we're going to do call-ins a little later, see how many people we have out there that understand what's going on here. Now, how do we stop the genocide? We stop the genocide by applying Obama's law. Now, why can't we go to President Obama? Obama, you wrote the law. Why doesn't it apply? Now, what happens with this law? They eliminate the funding to the
countries that support
that
genocide.
are accused of genocide.
Yeah. But
Now-
actually, right now,
Okay.
we have something much better. On November 28th,
Right.
these forces organized sham elections because they wanted to give this young man, this imposter, 5 more
Okay.
years.
Yeah, right.
But there is a God in the universe.
Okay, amen.
Right?
That
And
it
this
is.
God in the universe made sure that this time that these forces, they were caught in their own trap.
Okay.
For instance, the Europeans, Americans, French, Belgians, British government, they allowed this imposter to change the constitution unilaterally, moving the election from where you have a runoff to just one time, 1 day voting elections, because he controls everything. So they knew, okay. Then he changed the law that there will be only 1 month of campaigning in a country that is as big as of all of Western Europe. It's just like we're going through the Republican primaries right now. In the Congo, just 1 month of campaigning from October 28th to November 28th of this year, just this past, 1 month of campaigning. Now, on top of that, this so-called President Joseph Kabila, he controls the army, he controls the police, he controls the bank, he controls the justice system, he controls even the parliament. All senators, he pays them.
Okay.
And he controls the media.
And the media.
And the media.
Wow.
So therefore, and he controls the planes. Because the country is so underdeveloped that there's not one highway throughout
That's
this
right.
whole country.
Only in the capital city are there.
Has a
You will
little-
find some
little-
paved
right.
streets. Outside of
Yeah.
that, they
No
don't
highway
exist.
and even the mud roads in the countryside. He had let them just go to waste. So how are you going to campaign in 1 month? So after doing all of that, the great God said, all right, let's see what's going to happen. So then he got his friend, President Zuma of South Africa, because President Zuma of South Africa has mining dealing businesses with this guy in the Congo. So President Juma printed out thousands, hundreds of thousands of ballots pre-checked for him in his name. All right? So now when the Congolese people found out, okay, now they told Congolese people to say, if you're going to die, you need to control those elections stations. Congolese people, while they were being killed, there are pictures. The CIA knows this. The Europeans know this. They like surrounded these voting stations, right? Anybody who's coming in with a packet, they checked you. Make sure that you didn't bring in ballots pre-checked for this guy. In some areas in the countryside, they were able to do it where the police will come in and chase everybody. And then bring in the checked ballots. But most of it, the Congolese people controlled the elections to the point where at the end of the night, on November 28th, they counted the ballots. And here's the other thing they did, because they were sure they will control the elections. They said at the end of the day, after the elections, they're going to count the ballots and then sign, the witnesses will sign the results and post them outside of the polling stations. And would you expect that this will happen where after the elections, they counted the ballots, posted the results outside the door. By the end of the night, everybody knew that Tshisekedi had won. The Congolese guy who was the opponent, because the people controlled everybody who was coming in to vote that day. When they saw this, they panicked. So the next day, this guy, Joseph Kabila, called Juma to send in plane loads of the pre-checked ballots again. So that's when they brought them in and took them to another place where they could count them, to the point where even today, actually yesterday or the 20th, the guy said he was going to do his inauguration as president after they changed the results. Where the international community, everybody, including the Catholic Church, says that you cannot become president based on those results, because those results were fake. Even the U.S. said, okay, that those results are not right. Those results are fake. So but instead of President Obama saying, this guy cheated, we didn't have the results. The Catholic Church has the results. The international community has the results. The guy cheated. He has to get out. Well, they're just sitting back, watching what the Congolese people are going to do. They let the guy inaugurate himself on the 20th yesterday.
Oh, he just...
Yes. But Etienne Tshisekedi, the Congolese guy, the opponent, also declared himself president, and he plans to swear himself as president this coming Friday, in 2 days.
How can we help? I mean, can we send I'm ready to take a group of videographers over there and document all this stuff.
You can do that. You can do that. And also, but what we can do, people listening, is call the White House.
Okay.
The White House phone number is public.
Okay.
Please, get the White House phone number. Call President Obama. Leave the message that, look, in the Congo, the opposition guy won, even if you don't remember his name.
Okay.
His name is Etienne Tshisekedi, but said the opposition.
Tshisekedi. All right.
Just call
I have somebody that represented him. So
yes.
Call
the White House. Tell President Obama, look, this guy won the elections. The CIA knows this. The embassy knows this. The Catholic Church knows this. Even if you don't like him because he wants to stop the genocide in the Congo, the guy is going to let you get the resources.
Right.
The Europeans don't want this guy to come in because they cannot control him, they say.
Okay.
So they want this criminal, assassin, a guy who has assassinated people and works with Paul Kagame in this genocide of 9 million people. They want him to stay because they say the Congolese guy, Etienne Tshisekedi, they cannot control him. Okay. How long this genocide is going to take place without people saying, look, these are human beings dying? So what I'm asking everybody who's listening to us or watching us do is call the White House. Tell President Obama to tell this Rwandan boy, Joseph Kabila, to get out of the Congo. Send him back to Rwanda, as the Congolese people has been chanting throughout all these elections. Send him back to Rwanda. The CIA knows he's from Rwanda. Belgium has already said that he's from Rwanda. Sarkozy knows this. But to them, the lives of the black people in Africa counts very, very little. As long as they're getting the resources, the minerals, as long as they can control what goes out and in of the Congo, they don't care about the lives of the Congolese. I hope and I know that Obama cares. Otherwise, he wouldn't have passed that law in 2005.
That's right.
But because he has a CIA and the State Department and the people in the Congo who don't believe that the lives of Africans are that dear to them, including Johnny Carson, an African-American who used to work for Bill Clinton. They put him up as an assistant secretary for Africa, and he's still doing Bill Clinton's bidding and Paul Kagame's bidding in the Congo. So American people need to call Barack Obama. He must give the order directly that this guy, Joseph Kabila, who is Rwandan Tutsi, who lost the elections, must leave. Let Tshisekedi take over the presidency. Tshisekedi is not a communist. He's not even a socialist. The man has been a non-violent opponent of Mobutu for 30 years.
Of Mobutu?
Yeah, for 30 years.
No,
the guy
wasn't Mobutu a gangster?
A dictator.
Yeah.
The dictator. But
so
you got to remember, when you study American history, this country has supported some of the most heinous dictatorships around the world.
Always.
You had U.S. senators trading with Adolf Hitler, supplying the Germans with what they needed in World War II.
Grandpa Bush, come on, he was an investor.
Okay. You have in Vietnam, Diem, another dictator who was supported by the United States government. Look at the Philippines, the support that we gave Sukarno and all the people in the Philippines. You can go to Argentina.
You can go all over the place.
You can go all over the world.
I mean,
but
you can go back to George Bush.
When the change came, though, America turned against the same people that were they supporting. Remember?
All right, let's go back to Obama's law, 109456.
We have to look at it this way, and this is how I see it as a historian, that superpowers, including Russia, right? They always look for client states. But check this out. I wrote to President Obama personally, and this is what I told him. I said, look, in Asia, all these countries used to be also European colonies, right? Right now, South Korea is a partner with all these countries. Why can't Obama apply that to African countries? That's what I asked him.
Well, he needs our support.
Okay, so therefore, my brother, even though America has always, for their own interests, supported these criminals, dictators and so forth, for also American interests, as Obama said in Ghana, they need to treat African countries as partners.
They've always
because look.
Well, they have a partner. You're skipping the part.
Yes.
They have a partner.
Who's that?
They have a partner sitting in the Congo right now.
Well, yes,
Kinshasa.
yes, but hey, check this out. They're jeopardizing their own. America is jeopardizing America's own interests because, as I said, there is a God who puts a name. This, what book is that? Prophet Daniel said that it's God who sets up kings and removes kings. All right? God removes kings. God sets up kings. Where is the Roman Empire today? Where is the Greek Empire today? Where is the Assyrian Empire today? Where is the British Empire today? So President Obama and the American people need to remember this is a so-called Judeo-Christian country. We need to ask ourselves, would America go the way of the British Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire?
It will.
If we do not,
it's going to change.
do not do according to the justice that God expects us to do. You follow me?
Amen.
So therefore, the Congo is actually a 95% Christian nation.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right? So
we should be
people
there.
are dying.
All right.
Christians in America and Jews in America and even Muslims in America should be calling the White House to say,
Okay.
stop the Holocaust taking place in the Congo. All he has to do is say the word. Joseph Kabila, you are a Rwandan. You lost the election. Now go back to Rwanda. In fact, we heard that Obama sent Bill Richardson over there to tell him to go to Tanzania, where he had put all the millions of dollars that he has stolen from the Congo. He lost the elections. Why? And by the way, as we speak today, brothers and the audience listen to us, he has tanks all over the country ready to slaughter people. And the young people in the capital city of Kinshasa, now he's not even using the Congolese police and army. He has gotten Zuma, the president of South Africa, gave him 4,000 of those soldiers who were in prison for all these, whatever they did wrong, and he took all these people out of prison and 4,000 of them sent them to Kabila so they can kill Congolese people. Wow. Kabila has given them Congolese uniforms. Uganda gave also 4,000 soldiers. Tanzania gave also thousands. Rwanda gave thousands of them. So that today, they are wearing Congolese uniforms, but they speak only English. And they're going door to door at night, kidnapping young people, taking any cell phone they have so people don't call, and taking any monies they can find. Then they kill these young people, put them in planes, and dump them in the Congo River. We have pictures. This is what's happening today if Obama does not say the word. This is happening now.
The phone number to the White House is area code 202-456-1414, 202-456-1414. If that number is busy, call 202-456-1111. Area code 202-456-1111. And the last one, 202-456-2461. 3 numbers for the White House.
Yes, please.
Now, let's try this. Can we put a call-up number up? I'm just curious how many people are listening. I like particularly, I wish Reverend Sharpton could call in and say a few words, but he's busy getting ready for his own show. But we're going to get some attention brought to this. You see, I spent a lot of shows on this. I think it's important enough that everybody should hear about the crisis in the Congo. I'm sure many of you have seen the video. It's on YouTube. You can, as a matter of fact, you can go to this Facebook page. My Facebook page is Winston Gilchrist on Facebook. Did you watch it?
I didn't get a chance.
Well, you can go to my Facebook, Winston Gilchrist on my Facebook page. You have right there the entire broadcast from last week. And in that piece, you'll see the whole half an hour, 26 minutes of the crisis in the Congo. I think everybody owes it to yourself if you're human.
Exactly.
This is a human cause.
Yes.
It's not what color you are, it's if you're a human.
No.
These are people struggling to save themselves.
Yes.
It's a civil rights movement.
Right.
Reverend Sharpton should be the head of this.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and we're going to approach him next week, see if we can't do something about this.
We have 4 calls.
Well, there's a call again. How many calls?
4.
About 4.
All right, let's take the first call. Let's see who has what to say. Yes. Yes. Hello? Next?
Do we have a caller?
Hey, Rich. We have a caller?
I think they're trying
We're having technical difficulties. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
How you doing?
You have to turn down your television.
Oh yeah, yes sir.
Okay.
I want to first thank the lovely lady who answered my phone. Sometimes the people who are in the background don't get the accolades or the credit for answering the phones. I'd like to say thank you for answering my phone. And to begin with, I don't know, and I could be wrong, if Reverend Al Sharpton should...
Hello?
Hello? We lost him.
Can we get this caller back on the line? Hello?
All All right, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, you were saying something
Reverend
with regard to Reverend Sharpton.
I don't know if he's the right person to be leading this movement.
It's what I
Well,
want.
not mentor.
Wait, let him finish. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. So you've got the floor.
Yeah, thank you. We all want the best. We all have the best interest in mind for the Congo. I've been understanding and aware of the Congo since.
Hey, we keep losing him.
I think he was going to Patrice Lumumba.
Lumumba, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, isn't there like an interest of China in Africa now, who's investing in Africa, be it good or bad? Why can't this leader, who's your guest of your show, do some relationships, business relationships with them, infrastructure relationships, where you can have money and perhaps whatever he desired, a military apparatus, economic growth, a banking system, hospitals and schools.
Do you have a question?
That's the question.
Do that. Why can't he just go to those who are investing in Africa, the Chinese, and have a hand out for them, and push for this law that Obama made?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. May I just tell you right now that China is also in the Congo doing the same thing as the Europeans have been doing. He's giving millions of dollars to the imposter, the occupation government of Joseph Kabila, and China is doing the same thing, getting their resources out of the Congo. So, sir, by saying China is no different from any other superpower. They want to get the minerals cheap. They don't care about the politics of your country, whether you're killing yourself or not. And they are also not only getting their resources, but they're actually coming in to try to change the way your country works and develops, giving you cheap stuff for your resources. So again, it's about really partnership. And America can be a partner just like China can be a partner. But when either China or America or Europe or Russia engage in allowing the Holocaust, the genocide, to take place, none of them is different from the other.
Yeah, the Chinese are literally raping Africa to a far greater degree than the Europeans did in 400 years. They do not employ African people on any project on the continent.
No.
They bring in their own people to work and build the construction.
Even the labor.
And that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. They will give you what you want, but they will take control. And everything that they bring into Africa is toxic.
Put them on camera.
I was with President Yahya Jammeh in the Gambia 3 years ago and warned him about that. I saw a lot of stuff from China. Everything they're bringing in is toxic. So the Chinese are by no means should not be considered to do anything. And they are literally raping. If you look at Fast, there's a magazine, Fast Company. If you get a back issue going back 3 years, May of 08, they did a 30-page article on how China is raping Africa. They're cutting exotic woods, they're defoliating, they're doing all sorts of things and ripping off the people of the African continent. And they're doing it with the blessings of African leadership.
Oh, we have 4 calls on, a lot of people on the line here. Next caller, please. And make it short because we only have a few minutes left.
Hello?
Next caller.
Go ahead.
Keep it short, please.
Okay, this is Wayne Moorhead, one of your old classmates from George Washington High School.
Oh, what's up, Wayne? What's up, Wayne?
I know you don't remember me, the sound of my voice.
I remember your voice.
But I look at your program every week and...
Give us a question, Wayne. We only have a few minutes.
I'm just proud. Yeah, what's the question?
What's your question?
Well, my comment is that I want to work with Winston and trying to resolve this problem in the Congo, and that I will be contacting him later.
Okay.
Call the White House.
Thank you.
Okay, call the White House.
Call the White House. You can join me at National Action Network. That's my team.
But call the White House tonight.
Okay. Call the White House. And call me later.
All right.
Next caller, please.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just want to say that with all due respect to your guest, I don't think that the United States as a country is in any position to be telling other nations what to do with their fixed elections. Arguably, this country has some of its own problems with elections. You look at the elections of 2004 with Bush, and those elections were arguably fixed. And as far as Americans getting involved, Americans, all they care about is just getting their stuff. That's all. They don't care who really suffers.
That's what we're trying to change. Did you have a question, Abby?
No, it's okay. But one of the comments he made that he doesn't
we all
think
know
that America should be getting involved with. America is behind the fraudulent elections in the Congo. Europe is behind the fraudulent elections in the Congo. If it weren't for American weapons and European weapons, this young man would not have the tanks that he's using against the Congolese people. I just said that the U.S. ambassador in the Congo just gave him police equipment to control the crowds, to kill the people. So if America is responsible for those things, America has to clean it up. Europe
well, we've run out of time, gentlemen.
Got one more. Got one more call.
1 minute. She put up the finger.
Oh, I thought it was one caller.
1 minute. 1 minute.
You said them to call the White House.
Call the White House. I believe. Give me the number again, real quick.
I took it off.
Call the White House.
Call 911. I mean, what do you call it? 411.
Just call me.
411, and they'll give you the White House number.
All right. It's been a Gilchrist experience. And this is live television. This is what happens. But hope you got something out of this. And the God in me loves the God in you. And stay tuned. This is not the end of it. And please call. Call the station anytime you get a chance.
Passingly about a man named Shakespeare. I only read about him passingly, but I remember one thing he wrote that kind of moved me. He put it in the mouth of Hamlet, I think it was, who said, "To be or not to be." He was in doubt about something. Whether it was nobler in the mind of man to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, moderation, or to take up arms against the sea of troubles and by opposing, end them. And I go for that. If you take up arms, you'll end it. But if you sit around and wait for the one who's in power to make up his mind that he should end it, you'll be waiting a long time. And in my opinion, the young generation of whites, blacks, browns, whatever else there is, you're living at a time of extremism, a time of revolution, a time when there's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with extreme methods. And I, for one, will join in with anyone, don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. Thank you.
Malcolm was always involved somewhere in the struggle.